I still got plans that I never spoke. A lot of rhymes that I never wrote. A lot of dreams that I never lived. But if I think about it, then I mean I really did. Just not yet. I used to wish that I was here now. Smooth sailing on my own boat. I'm about to jump up on another plane. Right before I take another tote. It's all love. If you here, you done been through it. It's your business if you into it. If it ain't mine, I ain't into it. So I don't care what you meddling. You can say what you peddling, cause niggas ain't easily influenced.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We are streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook Live. So just go to facebook.com/New Haven Independent or go to your Facebook page, look us up, and then hit see first so you can get all these great shows right there in your feed as soon as you pop it.
And Harry does such a great job of making sure that we're up to date and live on the Facebook feed, and all that content is up to date as well, which we always thank Harry for.
Yes.
And that Facebook app, just being able to hit that see first, it'll pop right up as you open up your screen. So it's pretty cool.
Just so you know, Mondays at 1, you hit the Facebook, pops right up, Cannabis Corner, and here we are.
That's right.
So, how was everybody's weekend this weekend? We had a nice, at least the weather was nice.
Yes, it was beautiful.
We held the third graduation of the Canna Health Education Certification classes.
Yes, it was a nice group. There was 20-something people there.
Yeah, close to 20 people there. It was nice.
I feel bad because I didn't even know about it.
I told you about it, Kebra.
Not well enough.
And Brian got sick, so he wasn't able to join us. But it was a great time.
I did forget to do the reminder. You're right. I did tell you like a week before.
It was a busy week. We had a lot going on.
But I just want the students to know why I was
I
there.
did tell them that you were speaking at.
Exactly, you were speaking.
Yeah.
That's what I want to go to. You had some awesome
how did that
engagements
go?
this week, man.
Oh, yeah. Did I?
You had some great speaking engagements
Southern,
this week.
right?
Yeah.
Well, it was at for the Southern. Okay, I'm gonna get it right. It's the Urban League of Southern Connecticut Young Professionals Group was who I spoke to on Saturday.
And where was that?
It was on Grand Avenue.
Nice.
That was awesome.
Nice.
They have like a little shared workspace. It was really nice.
Very, very
Keep
cool.
her out there empowering all young entrepreneurs, not just cannabis entrepreneurs. So.
I just felt bad because they were like, to join the group, you had to be, I think it was like 22 to 40. I was like, dang, I can't even be in y'all's group. I'm too old.
Well, you know what? Those young entrepreneur sections are awesome because that's the sector that that's where I get my memberships to the New Haven Chamber of Commerce. I use the young entrepreneur portion, and it's like a quarter of the price. Then, you know what I mean? So like the Connecticut, the New Haven Chamber of Commerce is like $2,000 a year.
Wow.
As a business.
I'm a member.
Yeah.
As a business, but I don't
Do they have like old entrepreneur, like a senior discount?
I know, right?
For old entrepreneurs?
You know what? I saw my parents this week, and my mother
Tuesdays only.
She goes, oh look, we can use my AARP thing here. I said,
Can I use AARP on there? Yeah.
I was like, what is this AARP thing, Mom? She goes, oh no, I just got it. I earned it.
Yeah,
I said,
man.
you aged in. You're perfect.
They give you good discounts.
Yeah.
On
But
hotels
yeah, it was a busy
and rental
week.
car.
Joe, I saw your face a lot this week also.
Yeah,
so
how was
you know.
the event you had Thursday was very nice.
We had a busy week, man. There was a lot of things.
That's
Right after NECAN, right off of NECAN to another nice
I had an
busy
event
week.
almost every night this week.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And it's awesome, that space that you got down there, the Grove.
Yeah, man. And pretty soon we'll probably know the opening date by next week, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
You'll set that up tomorrow.
And
I
that you're
guess.
talking for Canna Health, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Canna Health. We're looking for the grand opening of the Canna Health Milford office,
The
which is going to
third
coincide
office.
with the grand opening of Go-Go Joe's
Yeah.
down in Milford, Connecticut. So this is the third city that we've been moving around to all over the place, Canna Health. And it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing, and we hope to expand to even more cities and maybe more states.
Yeah, definitely more
territories. States. You never know.
Oh, there's no stopping either. She gonna make that happen.
Yeah. So I mean, you have to start somewhere, and this could be a good model for the future. And I would say 420 sounds like a real nice date. for a grand opening party to me.
Joe's just looking for some place to be at 420. I got.
But we'll see. We'll have an announcement
There's
next
so many
week.
things. There's so many things we're doing on
We'll have an announcement next week with the
April.
official date, so you can start scheduling your appointments, and getting your medical marijuana card. So when the new dispensaries open up, especially this one in New Haven, you can go there and get your medicine.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Exciting time.
yeah.
It's a very exciting time. You know,
It is.
I drive past that location every day after I drop my kids off from school, and to watch the progress is awesome. And it really does show the positive impact of a cannabis industry in an area. And I'm happy to see that going on. I see the construction being done on the corner there. That the building's being redone. The street's going to be redone. There's sidewalks being put in. It's pretty awesome that they're prepared for a new sector of commerce to that area.
I want to ask you a question, Kebra, because you were probably around when they first did the first round of dispensaries. Was there any particular reason New Haven did not get one? Was the other mayor in power at that time? Did they not want it?
Yeah, definitely another mayor was in power.
Okay, so maybe he didn't necessarily have the same attitude towards cannabis businesses as Mayor Harp does.
I think it was just about who applied and
Yeah.
where they.
Because I was very
Just their
surprised.
locationing. Yeah.
I was shocked when the first round came out, before a few years ago. When what no New Haven, and there wasn't even Milford in there then. We had to go all the way to Bethel.
And,
I was
even
just
at
surprised at the cities they picked.
And where they were definitely in industrial zones. They were not, like if you go to these places, the first couple, they were zoned. Like you were saying, the zoning was weird. It was hard to where they could go, and a lot of the places were.
They had moratoriums and
And
all
it
that.
was, that's what I was thinking. I always thought New Haven might have had a moratorium.
No, I think they just didn't. Honestly, I didn't. When I applied for a dispensary, and I didn't even apply in New Haven. I didn't think they would do another one in New Haven, to be honest, because of the fact that if you went by what DCP said, they were gonna license the new dispensaries based on geographic area that people didn't have access to cannabis by county. And New Haven already has the most number of dispensaries in the county.
Milford
New
is
Haven
technically New Haven, even though it's right on that border.
No,
there.
it's not even. It is
It
absolutely
is
New Haven County.
It is New Haven County, yeah. Even
So
though
we
it's
got
right
two
on the
in
border.
Milford, one in Waterbury, which is New Haven County, and one in Branford, which is New Haven County.
Yeah.
So I didn't even think that. So that's the reason why I didn't apply in New Haven. I was trying to, go with
Hit
the
Fairfield
best
County,
shot.
right? Because they didn't have any. Right. Well, it's a good thing you're still involved in one here in New Haven, so that's a good thing. This is your community. This is where we can get, the people and the customers here, people who know you. So it'll be a good thing.
And it's good to be on the advisory board, to be, have a say in how it's going to be laid out, and how how it's just going to work in the community.
Yeah, that's excellent. So anyway, does anyone have any updates on legalization in Connecticut? The only thing I heard was April 8th, the Judiciary Committee is voting, but the agenda isn't even up, so we don't even know if they're voting on cannabis. But apparently April 8th is the next judiciary vote, so a week from today. So, but that's all I have heard. It's been kind of quiet up there on the Hill. I haven't heard about hemp either. We've got Aaron Romano coming on in a little while to talk to us maybe about update us a little bit about the hemp bill. Because last I had heard, they were going to put a pilot program in to try and get it in this year. So if they're going to do that, they should.
Time is ticking on for that, realistically. Because ideally, at today, with the weather, with everything, if I was a farmer, I'd want to be putting seeds in the ground, clones in the ground.
Yeah.
Right now, I'd be wanting to, not even seeds, just clones. It's like they're already past seed season.
Yeah, this is
clones have to go in. Clones have to go into the ground, and when you're doing an acre, and an acre's got 2,000 clones that are going in, every
that's
4
a lot
or 5.
Of work.
It's a lot of work every 4 or 5 feet.
They needed to get started.
Yeah, like if you're in the agricultural sector and you're doing this, that 1 acre is going to take you this whole first week. You should be spending 3 guys or gals going into the ground,
right?
Soil to fingers. So
it's getting to that point now. We're April 1st. Time to
deadlines are
time
here.
To go. Easter is usually when people start looking at it.
Especially if you want it in for the season.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of, there's a lot to, and we'll ask Aaron a few questions about that. Now, one thing that came up over the last week, I don't know that we discussed it last week, was what happened in New Jersey. Really, really kind of makes me nervous.
Well, it's different,
Makes you
you know.
nervous?
I don't know. They wouldn't do that
Don't
up
make me
here. All they did was just change the date of a vote, and that was because
Well,
they're
they
going in.
changed it because they didn't have enough votes to pass it.
Right.
And at the last minute, the leader of the Senate called off the vote
Mm-hmm.
because there were not enough votes to pass it.
Right.
So, you know, that, I mean, I guess it makes me nervous. You're right. Maybe you're right. It couldn't happen here. Let's just think positive.
Right.
But I know that it also made the headlines, and people,
it makes
people
tons
do
of
look
headlines.
at that. And,
That
you
whole
know,
promise, because, you know, as the governor came in New Jersey, that whole promise, I'm going to legalize within the
Right.
first 100 days, and then that didn't happen. And
That's
now we're pushed
right.
into the next deadline. So the reason why it's a big thing for Jersey is because there's been so many set deadlines. They've been working on their own time frames.
and they keep just pushing back,
Yeah.
pushing back. They can't quite agree on a few things.
Yeah, they're not doing that in Connecticut. Nobody came out and said, "Yeah, we're gonna do it." You know, they said, "No, we're in favor."
Well,
They said
the
we're in
governor
favor.
did say he was going to do it
Support.
this year.
Yeah, with
Say he would
support.
support.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like he said, "Oh no, I'm gonna jump in there and write a bill." You know.
Yeah.
I think what happened in Jersey is a lot of people got real cocky real quick
Yeah.
and was like, "Oh, we're gonna get this done." I bet. I mean, and I'm not.
This is just
I'm not
outsiders
entertained by
looking
this
in,
at
yeah.
all. But I'm just saying,
No.
I could just imagine that there were like people guaranteeing things were gonna
Mhm.
happen, and
There was
Now,
a lot of
sometimes,
promises going
yeah.
on.
there's got to be. I'm sorry, but it's something about cannabis. Period. That you got to have a little humility. Like if you're really like a part, like it's just
Mhm.
the plant brings you to a place of truth and honesty and light and sharing and
Right.
if you know the people who aren't like that, they're not really. They really shouldn't even be in
They
the cannabis
easily get
industry.
weeded out.
Right.
But yeah, they do easily get weeded out.
Unfortunately, the people that are like that are in the legislature
Mhm.
that don't smoke, that don't understand, haven't opened up their minds.
Right,
like we
exactly.
talk about.
Exactly. I mean, but it's true, and I think
If
that
you
Your
notice the
mind.
ones who are supporting it and the ones who aren't, you can kind of tell the ones
Free your
a
mind.
certain
Mhm.
demographic,
Mhm.
you know, younger
man.
age, you know, pretty much. Or if they were older age and they support it because they smoked when they were in the 60s
Maybe.
and 70s.
Joe, I gotta start getting like eye things or something. In this video, my eyes look so low for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know. It's crazy.
But I think that's where I think that's part of what went wrong.
Yeah.
Like I think they started making a bunch of promises and setting up a bunch of things, and God was like, "Not
It
on
was-
your time, on my time."
It was definitely looking to be very corporate as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
It was,
That was
You
a
know,
battle
that
going
was-
on there. So maybe it was a better thing. They were going to hold it off, I guess, till November now.
and you know what? It was fair for them to at least say, "Let's hold this vote off," versus going in for a vote and then getting it shot down and having to wait another year.
Yeah.
You know, that was a game time decision, and if
You know,
you're
if
out
the
there,
reason is because they were worried about the corporate interests, then I'll give them that, because that is a big, big issue, and especially
Mhm.
here in the Northeast. I think what they saw was, hey, we didn't get in deep enough in the West Coast. There's too many little guys involved in this. We need to make sure that we have a strong foothold in the East Coast, because it seems New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and now even Rhode Island have been inundated by these corporate entities and their
Mhm.
lobbyists who are not only fighting for control of the market, or at least first entry into the market, but they are also fighting against home grow rights.
Yeah.
This is, they're doing it in New York right now. This
Very
is a
heavily.
big battle in New York right now, and it looks like New York is not going to get home grow rights. And don't think that some of the lobbyists, or not the lobbyists, but some of the companies that are fighting for that in New York aren't the same ones that
they're
are
the
here in
same ones
Connecticut.
they're the same ones that are up here.
I
and-
was just reading an article about some lobbyist who like is on the record and was saying what
They went against their
Yeah, where
no,
was
they
that?
the lobby. I have it right
Was
here,
it New York?
actually. It was in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Here it is, right
Oh
here.
yes, and he like had these quotes.
He had a lobbyist talking about
Mhm.
against home grow,
Mhm.
and then the actual client, which was something called Sanctuary, said totally contradicted him and said, no, we didn't mean that. We yes. he said that
He gets paid all those thousands of dollars and he's
to
not. Yeah,
misinterpret.
right.
he said that the lobbyist inadvertently misrepresented the company's position and that it actually supports the legislation.
I'm not even Harry. Why you do that to me? You know whereby? What you doing? I'm highly motivated. He walked in here with empanadas. Oh man.
Oh wow.
That was amazing.
But
No.
I think Jersey though, they're saying that where Jersey went well, not went wrong, but where there was the division was about the amount that they would expunge from people's records.
Oh,
That's a
Jersey
huge
had
thing.
proposed that anybody caught with 5 pounds or less
oh,
should
right.
be have their record expunged.
And they didn't
be-
want large trafficking on there.
exactly. Which I just okay, help me understand.
Mhm.
If you have determined that a bill or legislation was an error,
Right.
so it was an error, that it was racially motivated and that it targeted disproportionately certain groups of individuals,
Mhm.
doesn't that automatically make the law like invalid, period?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Right?
bel-
Okay.
You're
my
supposed
understanding,
to
yeah.
let people go.
You know, that's what should
Yes.
be happening.
They've
And-
done it with other things.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
this
if-
isn't setting a precedent.
Yeah, and if you have determined that because of the fact that it's illegal to continue to support that law, that certain people should have their records clean for it because it's illegal and it was never right in the first place, then that should extend to everyone.
Yeah.
I don't understand where we're departing.
The
from.
only exception I could see is guns.
Nobody's talking about guns. We're
Right,
talking
but
about
if
cannabis.
guns were
Right.
involved. Like, you know what I mean? If they
Well,
found
then
No,
it's a different charge.
Yeah, it's a whole different.
Yeah,
you
so
get
that
charged
you-
for
yeah,
each of those
that's
things.
true. So
So
the
I
gun charge
mean,
wouldn't get
Yeah.
expunged, but the cannabis
yeah,
would.
if you were
So we'll be
wielding a gun,
Yeah,
and-
we'll be 100% honest in that if the crime was you got arrested and you got possession, gun, assault, something else, and you're serving a combined 6 years, you know, you're not going to get off for everything.
But
You'll
the
get off for the
cannabis,
cannabis.
yeah.
The cannabis should come off.
because we determined that the
Right.
law was illegal,
Right.
it was
So the
invalid,
cannabis
it
should
doesn't
come off.
matter.
That's true.
So you should just have your. I don't.
Yep.
I mean, I
It's-
The
like
other stuff stays.
it's easy for people like us to see that.
Yeah.
I mean,
But the
it's easy for
legislators,
anybody to
well,
see
not,
that.
obviously not our legislators. We've all been up there. They still need to be educated on
What about
what
the
equity
babies?
is.
Yeah, but
What
if you
is equity? They don't even freaking know. They think
No.
misdemeanor expungement is enough.
But if you,
Come
but I'm just
on.
saying, like, if the bottom line is that it was illegal, and so you're gonna clear some people's records because of the illegality of it, or now the legality
You
of
should
it,
clear all
then
people.
all people should
I agree.
benefit from that
Whether
because
they're in jail
it's
or not.
illegal. You've already said that the law was not written.
Totally
You're right.
agree.
And
Totally
along
agree.
with expungements, there should be
Access
dismissals.
allowed. People.
Yep, dismissals of current cases that are going on because obviously, if you're being
Definitely.
if you're being prosecuted right now,
Oh, those
if you're
should
being
definitely be
prosecuted
dropped.
right now while this is going on this year,
Mhm.
there's no reason why prosecution shouldn't.
They
put
should
a
be
stay.
halted.
They should.
Yeah,
there should be a stay.
Stopped right now.
All
Oh, yeah.
they shouldn't be going on with any
Moratorium
of
on
it.
prosecution.
You know, they
Yeah,
should
what
just.
are you prosecuting?
You don't
You
know
know?
if it's going to be legal or illegal in the next couple months.
I mean, but we've already determined that the laws
The
were
laws
wrong.
were wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Jury
I mean, it
nullification.
just seems very,
I'm all about it.
very basic.
Cut
Like
and
if it was
dry.
anything else, I think it would just be,
Cut-
or if it affected different community, I think it would be very simple, to change the laws and how they enact them and who gets to benefit. from
Totally
it. But
agree.
because of who it is and how it affects us, I told you I was speaking at an event in Cheshire, and a woman said, well, if we clear up these people's records and make this legal, then will they turn to violence? And I'm like,
Why?
what kind of
Hmm.
foolish thinking is that? Like,
So my own thought on that is, if we're able to now clear records of people that have been in the underground cannabis industry, wouldn't they want to get a job in the legal cannabis industry
Or start a
Create-
business, get
create a
involved in it.
business?
That's
Wouldn't
the
they-
point of it.
potentially,
Like,
or
wouldn't-
just a job anywhere.
you know, what
like,
if they just want to be Joe
Yeah.
Smoke Trimmer? That's all I want to be. I want to be
But
Joe Smoke
Kebra's
Trimmer,
right.
or I want to go work. I want to do car repair for the state. What if
Kebra's
that person just wants
Even
to
if
be
they
a
don't want to
mechanic for
get
the state?
right mechanic. What if they just
You
want to
know?
work for the state?
It's a
like
great
you
industry.
say?
My father did that. He's retiring this year as a mechanic for the state of New York. You know,
There's plenty of
And-
jobs that require you to have background checks,
Yep.
you to be bonded, or so on and so forth. So if you have cannabis convictions,
you can't
that
do that.
stops your
Yeah.
life.
Trust
Well,
me.
You
what
know?
about that? What about that 17-year-old who's about to go to college and got caught with one baggie? They
Yeah.
can't
I
get
don't-
federal aid because now
it
they have a
happens.
cannabis.
We know somebody that happened to. So, and you
You
know,
know,
it's,
and it sucks.
and it happens quite often all around the country in different states. You know, but we're here in Connecticut, and right now we got to right the wrongs that were done here in this state.
Mhm.
You know, we start with us.
This is where our chances, and not
because
even
maybe
just
we could be
starting
an
with us.
example for some of the other states. Like, oh, if Connecticut can do it, because let's be real,
Yep.
if Connecticut can do it, then we can certainly do it. You
And
know,
there's a lot. And
states
this,
with even
we're not making precedent. There's examples, and the people that are helping. Kebra helped do this in Massachusetts as well. She's bringing experts from Massachusetts all over the country. Joe's doing the same.
California. They've done it in many
you
different
know,
places. Oakland has a, you know, they've
There
plenty
isn't a
of places.
precedent. This is nothing new. It's our time.
They're like, we still need more research. We need to do a study. Study what's already being done. Why waste our time and money
on
by
studies.
studying?
They
what-
never go
they
anywhere.
never. Like, it's so
Mm.
ridiculous. Oh, I got so much stuff. I just thought about something else.
I know it gets very frustrating being an activist. It
Yeah.
really, really
Mhm.
does when you're trying to make change with government officials who really don't get it. Some do,
And we don't have money. Like, that's the other
right.
thing.
The
like,
lobbyists
because
have money.
yeah, the
like when they
lobbyists-
did
Oh,
that
yeah.
vote, those lobbyists were in there
Oh yeah.
with them, trying to convince them to change certain things in the bill that would
Mhm.
benefit them, especially the home grow thing. And none of us really could take time off of work to be there. You know
All
what it
day
is?
and all night
day long. We don't get
long.
paid to be up at that state house. These people get paid. They're getting a paycheck every time
Yeah.
they walk into a meeting, you know?
Mhm.
But I will say that I did take a consulting position with MPP.
Mhm.
And so
Oh, you got that?
I did.
Very nice.
And it begins today.
Oh, well, here we go. Let's give Kebra a big
Oh,
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please let
But-
us know how we can help.
We have resources now.
Yes.
You know, and so that's a benefit, but you know, people don't realize that we've been using our own gas, our own
Mhm.
time, taking off time from work, you know, not neglecting our lives to do this work, and
Right.
and with nothing. Like, when we make copies, we paying for that. When
Mhm.
we, you know, make things for people to share or whatever, we're paying for that.
Yeah.
Like, it's been on us. And so, you know, it's nice to have a couple of resources in our
That's pretty
at
awesome,
our
Kebra.
disposal.
Yes,
So,
congratulations, definitely.
thank you.
Please
It's-
let us know how we can help, how we can contact, the contact and everything.
Oh yeah,
what
yeah.
needs to be done.
Sure. Yeah. So officially, I'm the co-director of Regulate CT,
Ah,
Mhm.
okay.
the
Who's
Connecticut
the other director?
Coalition to Regulate CT. Adam. I always want to say Adam West. His name is Adam.
Is he from
Hine.
Connecticut?
He is from Connecticut.
And he's from, where'd they get him? SSDP or? Oh, okay.
Worked in Bridgeport for a while.
So you guys will be a team.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. And it'd be nice to be
Adam.
able to go up there with the badge on this.
Wood.
Adam
Go out.
Wood.
Adam Wood.
All right, very cool. So Kebra and Adam Wood are now representing MPP and Regulate Connecticut here
Mhm.
to help with the legalization fight. And now we will have some resources. So if you have any ideas, any way that you want to help out MPP, like if Kebra wants to put a street team together or something, please contact Kebra. You can contact us through the show, however you want to do it. But it's very important. We've got 2 months left till the end of session.
And so,
to
you
get
know,
this done right.
yeah, and my email address is kebra@regulatect.org. So that's the one
Mhm.
specific for the MPP. And MPP is basically a nonprofit national lobbying
Right.
or an advocacy organization.
We've worked
So
with
this
them
is what they
before.
do.
We
Yep.
had Becky down here.
Mm-hmm.
They also hired a lobbyist for us.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe Julie is still working with them. I'm not sure. I'm sure you'll find out as the lobbyist.
Yeah, I haven't even been had our first meeting yet.
So hopefully now they see that Connecticut is serious, and
They
that
sent us
they
some
needed,
help.
because for all last year we didn't have anybody, only Sam, and he moved up to Maine.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Sam maybe came once and testified with Becky, and then that
right,
was it.
and that was it. So I'm gonna just text Aaron here and see if maybe he's in court or something. I don't know.
Oh, I thought we didn't have a caller.
Well, he was gonna call in. I got him last minute. But I just wanted to find out what was going on with hemp.
Oh, but back to Jersey. So I what I've been told was that bless you, that 5 pounds.
5 pounds, yeah.
Was the breaking point, and Republican legislator from Jersey said, that's just way too much. They were criminals, and so I don't understand that line of thinking. But we can learn from Jersey.
We can learn from Jersey. Hopefully, our legislators take a lesson from that and see. Because I
hate to succumb to asking for less to be expunged or forgiven as if you have a conviction, because I think it should be, if you could legally sell hundreds of pounds, then you should legally forgive hundreds of pounds.
If these Curaleaf can do it, right? Why can't these guys?
You just wrote a law to make it possible instead of writing a law to make it impossible.
Right.
Before, so I don't know, but
well, look, we still got a long way to go with this.
Oh yeah, a long way. People who think we won something.
Well, just because it went through, no.
It went through last year.
Went through last year again, and they decided not. Now this was the reason they didn't put it through the floor. All right, let's pay some.
We got to pay some bills.
Yeah. You're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We are streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook Live. Just go to Facebook.com/New Haven Independent, or go to your Facebook page and look us up. So, we can just take that as a warning to here to us in Connecticut.
The amazing thing is, we're able to see so many different styles of legalization and operation within a 4 or 5 hour drive.
Right.
That's one of those things that I really enjoy about being in this demographic.
Yeah.
We're able to take a 3 hour, 4 hour drive up into Maine, and we can see a completely different style. We take another stop into Massachusetts, see a completely different style. Same thing with Vermont and New Hampshire and
New Hampshire. They're fighting it, right? They're going through that. That's where that lobbyist thing happened.
Yeah. And
so they're having a battle up there too. It seems to me that legislatively is the toughest way to pass legalization, because no state has really done it to the full amount. Right. In other words, like Vermont did it legislatively, but it was only for growing and possession. No retail sales, no state
industry.
They all seem to be afraid, the legislators here, of the industry itself and the commercialization of cannabis.
And what are they really afraid of?
I don't.
The people who are going to come up, the communities that are going to be better.
Yeah.
Because there is some benefit to poor people and people that you can
keeping them poor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's benefit to that. I mean,
in their eyes,
I would like to not. In their eyes, I would like to not think so conspiracy in nature all the daggone time, but it's real. It's real, and so the rich stay rich because they keep the poor poor.
Right.
So I hope that isn't what's going on. But again, the legislators in Connecticut, I will say, they seem to be forward thinking.
Right. Yes.
They seem to be asking the right questions, and making sure that they have all the information. They're talking about equity. They're talking about how they're gonna repair communities with cannabis funds.
Yes.
Coming up with plans. I've been called into a couple of senators meetings with senators, a few state reps, all at different times, and everybody has really good ideas. So at least some of the people in our legislative body have the right ideas and are listening.
Aaron Romano, are you on the line?
Yes, how you doing? Good afternoon, everyone.
Good,
hey, Aaron.
Hello. How are you? Nice talking to you.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So Aaron Romano is one of the legal advisors for Connecticut Normal, as well as an attorney in Connecticut who is a pretty much cannabis focused. Am I correct, Aaron?
Yeah, that's right. Yep, of course.
So if you needed, some help with the cannabis case or any advice on cannabis, Aaron would be the guy to call. Aaron, I asked you to come on the show real quick, just for a quick update. I know you've been working with the Farmers Bureau, and I know you've been pretty much up to date on what's going on with hemp here in Connecticut. Last we heard, they were going to try and fast track some kind of pilot program to get seeds into the ground for this growing season. Is that still the plan, or what have you heard?
Oh, so I don't think there's anything that's going to happen for this growing season. If your listeners recall, I had filed a lawsuit against the Department of Agriculture in September of last year to force regs to be drafted so that there could be hemp planted for this growing season. But there have been a couple of changes in personnel in the Department of Agriculture regarding the people who've been working there. In fact, the executive director for the Connecticut Farm Bureau just was appointed last week to be the commissioner for the Department of Agriculture.
I saw that.
And he had been advocating for farmers to be growing hemp, and of course the Connecticut Farm Bureau has a policy statement that approves cannabis being grown by farmers as well as an agricultural crop. So I think it's great that we now have a cannabis-friendly commissioner in the Department of Agriculture. So there may be some internal kind of wranglings between DCP and Department of Agriculture in terms of how this might kind of take place, the sharing between the different agencies in oversight.
Why would DCP have anything to do with the hemp production? Because of CBD?
It could be. So DCP
they
right
want
now,
a piece of everything.
I know we've had some debates on the status of CBD, so I'll just hold back and reserve any comment on that.
Well, Walgreens doesn't seem to have a problem with
what's
it.
What's that?
Walgreens doesn't seem to have a problem with it.
Yeah, or CVS.
Yeah,
right. But you know how that is.
Right.
We're not going to see federal agencies or state agencies going after CVS or Walgreens. We're going to see them, if there was an issue, we would see them going after the little guy,
right?
Because it's an easier target.
And they haven't yet.
So I think it's DCP might want to maintain supervision over perhaps extraction of CBD. And then also there is that crossover. I know that the Farm Bureau has been lobbying to also have an opportunity perhaps to have a vertically integrated license or a CSA type of license for growing cannabis for adult use.
So that'd be nice to get the farmers involved, because we have so much farmland here in Connecticut that is unused right now. We even have some tobacco sheds upstate that could really be
be ideal for drying,
utilized for hemp. So is there anything that the people, our listeners, can do to, call their legislators, or is this pretty much out of their hands right now?
Well, I think in terms of hemp, if that's
we're talking hemp right now.
Is that clear? Okay, yeah, I think hemp is on its the wheels are turning, and it's going to happen. I don't think there's anything that anyone can do at this point to make it happen faster.
And I think they want it.
What's that?
I think they actually want it.
They do. I think they do want it, and I think they're well-meaning. I think the lawsuit certainly had to be filed because they weren't doing anything for the past 4 years while hemp had been legal.
Right.
So, at least in that regard, it's moving in the right direction. What I'd really like to see, and this really carries over to it's related somewhat to what we've been all advocating for in terms of equity in the industry. I mean, there's equity in the sense of populations that have been targeted by law enforcement during Prohibition, and then there's also a desire to create business licenses for small businesses, as opposed to the large corporations that we've seen throughout the states buying up smaller licensees. And we're heading towards a Budweiser Bush type
Yeah.
of model of cannabis, and I don't think that benefits anyone. We see what's happened with alcohol. People have really moved away from consuming alcohol by larger distributors, and they really enjoy the smaller cottage industry that's developed around small breweries.
That's right.
And so there still is that market, but I think that same idea could be applied with farmers as well. And
Yeah.
this would enable farmers to subsidize their current agricultural production. Many farmers are losing money, especially dairy farmers. They just can't survive. So if they were given the opportunity to grow, it would only take an acre.
Yeah.
Right.
It
I
would
was
just
having
take an
that
acre
To
for
change
them
their
to be able to
lives.
subsidize
You know,
literally change their
Aaron, I was
lives.
having that conversation with a potential farmer, somebody that was interested in hemp, and we were talking, and he goes, I do hay right now, and I get $47 for a 700-pound bale of hay, and that takes me quite a bit of room in each acre. And we're talking, and he goes, "What's the idea of hemp?" And I said, realistically, you have 40 acres. You can replace and subsidize your income in 1 acre that you do in 40 acres of hay.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's across the board. We see farms or farmland being sold for development, and this is a natural resource that is finite, and
Yes.
we have to protect these resources because once land is developed, you don't undevelop land.
Right.
Right.
So there's the importance of open spaces and keeping farmland, preserving farmland, but there's also the need to make sure that our farmers can continue to provide us with healthy organic or foods or locally grown foods if it's not organic, but certainly locally produced foods. And I think it's ironic that it's going to be in the most Republican districts where the farmers are located.
Yeah.
And I think if people understood that meant increased income, job creation for those districts, I think their legislators might change their tune.
Well, for hemp,
So I think it's important for people in rural districts who are in farmland to call up their legislators and tell them to support any efforts that farmers might have to get involved with the adult use part of the cannabis industry. And I know that the Connecticut Farm Bureau is lobbying for that.
right. Well, now what the Republicans are solidly behind hemp. As a matter of fact, Christine Cohen, the senator, is a Republican who has really been pushing this bill, and like you say, quite a few of the reps up there from that area. That goes as far as hemp goes. Now, as far as legalization goes, what the Republicans' latest tenor is, they support home grow rights, and they support the legalization of it, but they do not support the commercialization of it.
That's my understanding. That's my understanding as well from speaking to a Republican legislator who I've been in contact with throughout this whole process. They are in favor of legalization, but not in the current form that's being proposed by the Democrats. And we've seen we're really struggling. Activists in the cannabis industry are struggling to make sure that there is equity language in, or not just language, but provisions within the law itself that are going to ensure that small businesses can develop, ensure that an economy will develop, within the cannabis industry, not just for large corporations, and ensure that populations that have been most harmed by prohibition will have not just an opportunity, because an opportunity, a real, genuine opportunity to get licenses, and that's the problem. Anyone can put language into a bill and use the right words, but unless the bill holds those responsible for giving out the licenses, there has to be some type of responsibility that where we can go and make sure that those goals are being fulfilled.
Right.
And that's why we spoke about in the legislation we proposed through CURE was an Office of Justice Reinvestment, someone to oversee the entire implementation, ongoing process of making sure that we have a fair and equitable industry
And
here,
that funds are
and the
distributed properly.
exactly, and that
Because from past experiences, even just we'll just talk hemp right now. In the 2014 Farm Bill, they legalized it for the pilot programs. Connecticut didn't do anything, so for 4 years it was legal for a pilot program, and there was nothing put in place. But the language was there, but
Right.
nothing was actually put in place. So if the language is in there without the follow up, that's the biggest part, the accountability to follow up, the
Right.
watchdog portion of it.
Right. Right. And so do you feel like that's what the Republicans have the biggest problem with, or is it just the commercialization of it in general?
It's from my discussions with them, it's just hard to tell whether or not. I don't know if the equity piece specifically is a concern. I think it's more of a fiscal understanding that the larger the business, the fewer the employees, the less the impact on the economy.
Mm-hmm.
If the businesses are allowed to develop locally with small businesses, we'll see cannabis, whether or not they're cultivators or whether or not they're dispensaries for adult use, they'll be as common as liquor stores. And every town has several liquor stores where people go, and those smaller stores provide more jobs as opposed to a larger entity that would have just as small of a store, if that makes any sense. Because really, the market itself, where people have to purchase it, businesses want to minimize that space because they don't want to pay overhead for the square footage.
Right.
So the smaller the space, the more you can sell. I mean, ideally, the most cost-effective model would be a drive-through cannabis, for adult use, where no one's coming in and you're just, selling it out of a window. But
I like that.
We have to make sure that small businesses can develop so that people are getting jobs locally. And that's going to ensure that equity piece that we really, really are fighting for, that's going to ensure that the equity piece is going to exist. Because neighborhoods that have been affected more so, we have to ensure that local people within those neighborhoods are going to get those jobs.
Right. And the opportunities.
That's what we want. Right?
Because they're more likely to reinvest in those communities.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Whereas a big corporation
Small
who comes in has
businesses
no interest.
are more likely to reinvest in their own communities
Right.
as opposed to large corporations that just take their profits and they put them away into accounts where they're earning huge amounts of money.
And I think
right?
that's important to write in the bill that the existing corporations need to put aside a certain amount for community programs, and they need to define that. They need to define, hey, Curaleaf, you're coming in, you want a rec license, okay. You have to guarantee that a certain amount of your profits are going to go back into the community, and you have to show us where that's going to go.
Yep.
Before we give you a license.
Mm-hmm.
And or do it voluntarily. And if they were smart, they'd be doing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or, what I think is the proposal that we've been talking about is just taxing them in a way where then we're making sure that money, they're not in charge of that money, but the Office of Justice Reinvestment.
Well,
they're
we
in
could
charge
do.
of the money.
Oh yeah,
They're
they
collecting
can't
the
be in
money.
charge of the money.
No. We could
They'll come
take
up
a
with some
portion-
stupid
we could-
internships or stuff. This is what they're proposing.
They could
Well, that's-
charge them a higher licensing fee and make sure a portion of that licensing fee right off the top.
I think they should
Goes
hit them
into-
every way they can.
And then still hit them every year.
Applications,
Yeah.
taxes, community reinvestment, all of that.
Yeah. They have enough money to do it.
Absolutely.
So,
When you just think about the sheer millions of people across the country who've been affected by prohibition,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right.
and if you, I don't even know there's not a way that you can even add up all the days in prison
Right.
that people have spent because of this.
Right.
Right.
Oh my God.
So, Aaron, before
you can't give that back to people.
you're
Right.
right about that.
Lives, people's
You know,
lives.
So,
people's
so the
entire
only
lives.
thing that we can do is try by moving forward is acknowledge the errors of the past and really do something about it moving forward to
Right.
see if we can in any way ameliorate some of the things that have happened. I mean, it's destroyed communities. Prohibition has destroyed
For
communities.
50
broken
years,
up
Aaron.
families. It made certain that people can't get access to jobs, to college education with FAFSAs. I mean, it's just crippled people's progress.
Yeah.
So before you came on, Aaron, we were conversing about this, and since you're a lawyer, you could tell me how accurate or what our actual stance should be on this. But we were talking about how Jersey didn't get the vote to legalize cannabis in their state, and one of the areas of dissension between the parties was that they had proposed that people who have been caught with 5 pounds or less have their records expunged and their convictions, removed, overturned. And I understand. I mean, no, I don't understand. I read that one of the Republicans was like, "Oh, that's just way too much to forgive because it was illegal." But aren't they essentially saying now that the prohibition of cannabis was illegal, it was wrong, and the law should be essentially rescinded? And so why would that only apply to like small amounts? Like what would be the legal justification for delineating between the two? Smaller amounts, larger amounts, misdemeanors, felonies.
So you bring up a good point, Kebra. What is the difference, right, between 5 pounds, or in Connecticut it's proposed 1.5 ounces? So I think that the key to understanding this is asking ourselves what the purpose of legalization is. And this is what I was trying to do during my testimony to the judiciary 2 weeks ago. Why are we doing it? If we're doing it merely, are we doing it with a recognition that there was a mistake that was made? Are we doing it with a recognition that this is no different from alcohol? There was mistakes that was made, and we've seen the harm that has occurred, and now we're going to legalize it? Or is it just to limit licenses for a few people and make sure that they get the money? I mean, you have to ask what the goal of legalization is. And I think when New Jersey didn't follow through with that, it's clear that their goal wasn't an acknowledgement that a mistake was made.
Right.
Because whether or not it's 5 ounces or 5 pounds or 50 pounds, if you're saying that it should never have been illegal in the first place, you're not saying it should have been legal up to 5 pounds. I mean, what's the difference if I want 5 cases of beer, or I want 1 case of beer, or I want 50 cases of beer? What does it matter?
Right.
I mean, I can go if I want. I can get a tanker truck full of beer and park it outside my place, and I can
just
drink
have a
off
party.
that tanker truck all year round.
Yep.
Right? And there's no one to stop me.
Right.
Yep, very true.
As long as I buy it from a legal source, right? And so, but there was no ability for anyone to buy it from a legal source.
Right.
And there's an implicit acknowledgement that we made a mistake by making it illegal.
Right.
And I think lawmakers have to fess up. And it's not
I agree.
their fault, right? It's not the current lawmakers' fault.
Right.
They didn't do it, but they can fix it.
Can look at history with a critical lens and say we made a mistake, and now let's regulate it in a way that's similar to alcohol, so that people are not going to get arrested for it. I know that here's the one argument that I think is a legitimate argument. Right now, the way alcohol is regulated, if you sell alcohol without a legal license, then it is a misdemeanor, a Class A misdemeanor. You can go to jail for up to 1 year. So then the question becomes, if we regulate it like alcohol, do we not expunge records for people who are charged with distribution?
But would it have to be exclusive of one or the other? Because like if we ball up the law and say it was trash and throw it away, and now we make new laws going forward, shouldn't that be how we enforce that law? If that's what we do?
Logically,
that's what I think.
Yes.
We have to
Oh yeah, we're talking
that
logic.
we were incorrect based on the information that we had at the time, we understand this is a Jim Crow law. We understand its racist origins, and we're striking the law entirely so that anyone who has a conviction, anyone who went to jail, their records need to be expunged.
Right.
Moving forward, we're going to regulate it like alcohol so that if someone sells it without a license, they face a misdemeanor.
Not a felony like they used to.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Let's treat it like alcohol.
Yeah.
Let's not put a limit on the amount of alcohol. There's no limit on the amount of alcohol you can buy.
Right.
And make it in your
they want
basement.
you
You can make it in your basement. You just can't sell it if you don't have a license.
But you
And
can have
there's
a
the
good,
home
a
grow.
big
you
old
can have
party.
a big party. Though.
That's
All right.
right. That's right. You can give it away. Right. You can share it with people. You could buy. Several times during the year, I go up to Lost Acres Vineyard in Granby. They have fantastic wine there. I buy a couple cases, I keep them on hand, and I give them out to friends.
Nobody's stopping
Why
you.
can't I do that?
Nobody's stopping
Why
you
can't I
from
do
doing
that with
either.
cannabis?
Well, that's exactly right. All right, Aaron, we got to let you go. We're coming to the
All
wrapping
right.
up the show.
Thank you.
We
Appreciate all
appreciate you,
that you
sir.
do, my friend, and thank you for the update. And we will
My
see.
pleasure.
I
we'll
used
see
your
you.
business
I'm so
card
glad
this
you guys
weekend.
are doing this show because there's no one else. There's no one else in the state that's doing this, and you're providing a valuable resource, and you're teaching people the truth behind cannabis, and hopefully moving forward, we'll have a show about something else besides cannabis. We won't
That's
ever
right.
have a show like this.
Nope,
All
we'll be
right.
talking about the great events that are going on being hosted in Bloomfield at the hemp farm of Mr.
That's
Romano.
right.
All right, Aaron.
That's right.
Take care, my friend.
All right, take
Thank
care,
you,
everyone.
sir.
We'll
Right
see you
back.
soon.
Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
All right. All right, real quick, before we wrap it up, what do we got coming up? We got this Wednesday, the Medical Marijuana Discussion Group down at the Grove in Milford from 7
Great
to 9.
place.
That's for
Great
patients.
place.
Patients and their supporters, and we talk about medical marijuana, and we help give advice to people who need to know about how to dose and things like
Very
that.
knowledgeable crew down there. Brian is usually down there.
Yeah.
Joe is down there, so you know that
And
Jen Keever's
Bohemian
down
High
there.
Crew
Sometimes
is
Rich
down
is
there.
down there. So great people. I
Yep.
try to make it out, but I don't really ever make it. Milford's
It's far away from you, bro. I get you. And then on Kebra, you are doing Canna Gather. What is the date on that? Is that next week?
I forgot all
I
about
believe
that.
it's the 6th.
I don't even think I put that on my calendar.
I did
Yes,
see your
honest
face on the
with you.
poster, though.
Yes.
Yes.
So-
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
yeah.
I hope it's a good picture.
It's a good picture.
So
they
you're gonna
they
be-
do positive for you. You never take a bad
April
picture.
10th.
April 10th. Kebra
Yes.
will be speaking at Canna Gather. And where are they holding it this time?
in Hartford.
Hartford.
Yeah. I don't
And
know.
that's at 7
We'll
o'clock.
have more information next Monday. We have a
Kebra
lot
and
of cool
Butch
things.
Blued is speaking with her. There's a couple
Mhm.
people on
What's
there. that
happening? Oh,
Butch,
Butch. Oh,
yeah,
Butch
yeah.
is also speaking.
Oh, that's why Butch sent me that message.
There you go.
She's a busy woman.
Uncle Lou on the 12th. Can it create?
We have
There's a
Cannabis
spring
Create.
barbecue.
Spring picnic.
Spring
Spring
picnic.
picnic.
I know that's
So,
right.
Over at the Grove, you'll come down. Chef Lathan's gonna probably stop down as well. We're gonna do a composed salad, a beverage, and a dessert, all cold, and that are shelf stable so that you can take them out on a little picnic if you were going out.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then on the 13th, we have the first of our new session of
Yes.
classes, and that's with Ellen Brown,
Mm-hmm.
commercial cultivation, and that's from 10 to 2.
Ellen Brown, the business
yes,
leader of the year.
New England Business
So
Leader
it's a
of the
good
Year.
time
Yes,
for you
She's
to
yes.
come.
awesome.
That she just got a big gig in Canada, so this
Yes.
is lucky that we have her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So lucky.
She's going to be going back and forth to Canada. Okay,
Yep.
great for my phone to ring in the middle of the call.
Canna
Yeah.
Health
All
is
right.
going to be open Thursday and Saturday in New Haven and Saturday in Hartford
Hartford.
this week.
And soon in Milford.
Yep, and soon
Mhm.
in Milford. And rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle.
All right, Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Nipsey.
The normal meeting is the 17th at the Rough Draft, and then we'll give you some more updates next week. Thank you all for tuning in, and you're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We're streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook Live. Just go to facebook.com, New Haven Independent, or go to your Facebook page and look us up.
Hey, stay happy,
Thank
healthy, and
you.
high.
Jump up on another plane. Right before I take another toll. I used to wish that I was here now. Smooth sailing on my own boat. About to jump up on another plane. Right before I take another toll. I used to wish that I was here now. Smooth sailing on my own boat. About to jump up on another plane. Right before I take another toll. I always knew that I'd be